Hi everybody, Max Lucado here. I began ministry in 1979 and was living in St. Louis, Missouri at the time. Moved then to Miami, Florida, where I helped a church that was in existence, and then I helped start a church in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And since 1988, I've been in San Antonio, Texas at the Oak Hills Church. And it's been really a delightful experience. It's a lot of years, right? 1979, that's a long time. I can say that most of those years I've really enjoyed the ministry. But interspersed in the seasons of fruit and harvest and sunny days have been ample opportunities to battle some discouragement. And I want to talk to you about what you do when you find yourself kind of in a dry spot, when you need to find energy to not just lead the church, but maybe even go to church. When you're digging in deep and maybe you've been hurt, or maybe you've been offended, or maybe you're just depleted. You know, this is just part of ministry. It really is. We get depleted. We do. We are always, oftentimes, in a position where we're giving out, and we're forgetting to take time to receive. Now, there's some real practical things a person can do that I've found helpful. I think putting boundaries around your schedule is really important. I believe reserving yourself time in the evenings to let your body relax so you can get a good night's sleep is absolutely essential. I really believe in exercise. I really believe in taking time to develop friendships that are not necessarily a part of the ministry. I've always tried to have a really good hobby that does not at all relate to what I do at the church, whether it be golfing or biking or running. I try to take on something that's encouraging, and yet if I flop at it or I don't succeed at it, there are absolutely no consequences. That's really important. But you know, I'll tell you the most important thing about finding a way back when your spirit is depleted is going and talking to God and asking Him to give you a fresh vision or a fresh word. This happened to me just a few months ago. I'm not sure exactly why I was feeling so depleted. It wasn't any tragedy. There wasn't any mishap really in our lives. Family was good. The church was healthy. But you know, I'd probably been putting out more than I'd been taking in. And consequently, I was just flat. And I can remember a particular morning in which I was reading the Bible. And I had prayed about this specific thing. And boy, did God give me a great answer. My reading that day was the story of Joseph of Arimathea. And I remember thinking how Joseph of Arimathea had absolutely nothing to gain by doing what he did. Yet he did it. He had no clue that we'd still be telling his story all these many years later. He certainly had no clue that by giving his tomb to Jesus Christ, then his tomb would be one of the most celebrated places on the planet, and that his name would be forever associated with the greatest miracle in history. He had no clue. All he knew was this: he wanted to minister to the body of Christ. In his case, the body of Christ was, well, it was dead, and it was bloody, and it was bruised, and it had been rejected. In his case, even the people that you would think that would come and care for the body of Christ after the crucifixion were absent. No Peter, no John, no Andrew, no apostle. The women were there. Nicodemus was there. Joseph of Arimathea was there. And Joseph of Arimathea decided that he wanted to minister to the body of Christ. And he did so by showing up. He did so by speaking out in defense of the body when he went to Pilate. And he did so by using the resources that he had. You know, sometimes that's all we can do. Sometimes we have nothing more left. And so what we do is we say, you know, I'm just going to care for the body of Christ. I'm going to show up. I'm going to use what resources I have. And I'm going to speak up in defense of the body of Christ. I think many times we find ourselves in ministry, ministering to the body of Christ, and we find that it's bloody and bruised. Sometimes it's on life support. Every generation needs its quorum of Josephs of Arimathea. There are many people who can minister to the church when it's vibrant, alive. Palm Sunday folks who show up to celebrate the presence of Christ, and that's wonderful. But may God give you, may God give us the strength to be a Joseph of Arimathea. I don't have a tattoo. I'm too afraid of it. I think they hurt. But if I ever get the courage, I think I'm going to find Arimathea in Greek and take it to a tattoo parlor and see if they'll stick it on me. Just to remind me, we're here to minister to the body of Christ.